all your school rugby, all in one place. This is Next Gen 50.
Right, we're joined now by Will Parkin, assistant coach at England Under-18. How are you doing, Will?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Angus. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to chatting about how the boys have been going and general Under-18 rugby.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the first two rounds of the Under-18 Six Nations. Tell me a bit about how that's been for the boys.
Yeah, no, it's obviously, if you look at results, it's been very pleasing. However, I'm sure you'll know by now it isn't the reason why we bring the boys out here. It's been a great opportunity for these boys to develop their game on and off the field over the last couple of weeks, and then an opportunity probably with no bigger task of playing France in France on the final evening tomorrow night. So yeah, no, it's been a great start to the tour and looking to hopefully finish on a positive note as well.
Yeah, it must be boys must be buzzing about the France game. I mean, it's a proper climax, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in terms of Under-18 rugby, it doesn't get much bigger. We've been speaking to the boys sort of as we took a group out last year, and from a noise point of view, I don't think any of us as staff, nor certainly any of the players had experienced anything like it. And with it being a Friday night, ahead of all the schools breaking up out here, it's hopefully gonna be a similar experience for these lads to have tomorrow night. So yeah, what an opportunity these lads have to go and experience that at such a young age.
And I guess in your role as sort of looking after the attack, France is kind of the game, isn't it? Because if you look at what France have been doing from age grade right the way up to the senior side, their attack is something that pretty much everyone in the world wants to watch, wants to emulate, and you guys are going out and playing some different stuff, similar stuff, but exciting stuff as well.
Yeah, I think like a big thing for me, like I want whatever team I coach, I want it to be exciting to be involved in, but also exciting to watch as well. And that's something that we've sort of spoken about as a group. The boys have really driven enjoying what they do. They've been through trials as 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds where they've had to miss social events, had some tough times through injuries, through not getting selected, but actually they've all done it to try and get to this stage as a stepping stone in their career. So not to forget that all of that hard work is to get to this point and making sure they enjoy it. And the way we've been attacking, certainly over the last few games, looks like the boys are enjoying it, but hopefully it's been enjoyable to watch as well. As you say, the France way of playing is a great way, and I think we are playing an adaptive style of that, where we are like our strap line is BAM. We want to keep the ball always moving. However, a big focus for us is making sure we don't go away from the points as well that are gonna allow these players to make the step into senior rugby. So the set piece is a huge part of our game as well. I think huge credit to JP. We're top across the competition for our line out, which has produced a load of tries for us as well. So to score 18 tries in 2 games is great, and a decent start point, but a lot of that comes from set piece, also comes from playing exciting rugby as well. So hopefully we've got that all court game.
Yeah, and actually, kind of on the all court game, and I guess the linking between set piece and playing sort of that wider game, we've obviously seen a lot of stuff kind of towards the end of the Six Nations with guys like Ben Earl coming out and stepping into the centres. Henry Pollock is another that's been talked about, has been able to play that sort of game. Is it something that you guys look at with the 18s and the pathway players about being able to step into different roles, being able to step outside maybe of being, if you're a forward, you're going to obviously be very involved in the set piece drill, but actually you need to perhaps spend some time doing the defensive alignment in the backs off those set pieces as well, if you're likely to be someone that gets moved about. Is that something that gets worked on?
I don't think we reference playing different positions a huge amount, in all honesty, at this level. I think it's brilliant for all young players to play in different positions. Use 2 great examples there of Henry and Ben O that I'm sure played in multiple different positions at school. Whereas out here, what I've sort of gone really hard after from an attacking point of view with the forwards is making sure they all have the ability to make sort of the three key passes, which for me are short, wide, and then you'll see it a lot the ball where they play it out the back. And our sessions would always start with that pre-warm up. It'd be included in warm up. So before the boys had got into the actual session, we would have hopefully have got sort of 50, 60 touches, whether that's catch or pass, in different varieties of pass. And I think for me, a big focus over the last few years I've been involved in England and in my previous role is making sure that forwards are comfortable making decisions. Their bread and butter is their set piece, but with where the game's going, and hopefully does go to make it more exciting, these forwards are able to make good decisions at the line and have the skill set to be able to execute it as well.
And I guess we've seen that a little bit. I mean, if you look through to the 20s, that highlight moment from Kepu breaking through with his little chip across or grubber across. Yeah, these are. I mean, he's a special player, but these are the sort of moments I suppose you're looking at of being able to have forwards able to make decision-making processes that you might see a back make more traditionally.
Yeah, 100%. The big thing we sort of have gone after around that BAM piece is touches for forwards, but then touches for the backs as well. We don't want all the forwards doing the work. And again, we've got fantastic support with our analyst Tim Newhouse that provides stats from across the competition, and we're top for forwards touches and backs touches. So things that we're trying to go after, the boys are really buying into, and with that, that's going to support their development longer term. If we're getting props, hookers, back rows, getting a load of touches on the ball and having to make decisions, likewise with backs, whether that's first receiver or in wider channels, that's going to support their development for when they make the steps into senior rugby, or for a lot of these boys coming back again next year.
What's the alignment like from 18s up to seniors? I asked that because there was a post on Instagram from the England Rugby account where they basically, the Elliot Daly's try from the Six Nations was lined up against one of the tries against Scotland, and it was pretty much identical. I mean, I guess it's a bit of a stock play, but is there alignment on those sort of things, or is that just it's a stock play, so everyone's got a similar kind of pattern on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people run that play. So I wouldn't say it's an alignment from 18s to seniors, because the game does look very different at those two stages. All the stuff that certainly I'm trying to implement in attack is, obviously we want to win games, but most importantly is putting players in positions to make decisions and get better. There's a huge amount of alignment between 18s and 20s, and there are calls throughout the pathway into senior rugby that do align. However, I think it is important to separate the two, because ultimately our win is a different win from the senior teams. Our win is to make sure players come through into 20s, from 20s into seniors, whereas at senior level, it is to win competitions, win games, win trophies. So I think it needs some alignment. However, they are very different ways of playing the game at 18 to senior rugby. So I would like to say it is from a very aligned pathway to senior, but it's just a play that we both run.
Fair play. I thought that was probably the case, but it was eerily similar. It was impressive. It was a good spot, to be fair, from whoever's on the social media account.
On that, I think it's been great to see how much social media has been put out on the boys. I think you guys at NextGen do an outstanding job throughout the season. Academy League, school rugby, Roslyn Park, which was again brilliant this year. And then we're seeing it now with the competition being live streamed out here. Likewise with the Instagram account, with the Six Nations. I think it's a massive part of us all growing the game, is getting these boys out on social media. You see what the backlash Henry's had a little bit this week, but how many people are talking about it? And I think that's, as long as it's managed well, I think that's going to certainly grab more attention to the game, which ultimately is hopefully a positive thing.
What's that like for you guys as coaches? Because I guess with there being more coverage of age grade rugby, there's obviously a little bit more scrutiny. I mean, I think most of the coverage is relatively uncritical coverage, but nevertheless, when something's online, it's always going to attract attention, isn't it? Does that change the nature of what you've got to do a little bit in terms of some of that prep for dealing with a bit of the off field with the scrutiny that comes because it's coming slightly earlier?
Yes and no. I think I'm in a very fortunate position where we have Ryan that does an excellent job of supporting these boys, from what they should and shouldn't say on social media. Likewise, we've got a psychologist out here as well that supports the boys to, well, in anything they're going through, whether that is online or whether that is the actual sport pressure of rugby. I think what it does do is it helps build the profile of these players and actually helps put some really exciting rugby clips on social media. I think we're seeing loads of tries from across this competition. You saw loads of stuff from Roslyn Park get on Instagram, get on TikTok, and that's going to create views and get people watching the game. I think it's showcasing a lot of the unbelievable talent that we have across England that sometimes perhaps doesn't get spoken about in a positive way. So, although I might get heat for it, like I'm a young coach, I'm on social media and I like seeing it across the platforms I'm on. So, as long as it's managed properly and the boys have support around it, I think it's only a positive thing for the game.
Yeah, exactly. We want to see these young guys thriving and seeing the best of them, and I guess in some cases as well, this, everyone wants to go as far along the pathway as they possibly can, but not everyone does, and for some this is the absolute high point, and they deserve to have that made a fuss out of because it's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, 100%. Speak about it a lot to the boys. I never did this as a player. So they need to at some points just take a minute to stop and reflect so they don't just pass it by. Like this could be the only time they put an England shirt on. This could be the first time in 100 times they put one on. And I think wherever you stand on that spectrum, it's important to recognise that a lot of work and effort's gone into getting to this level, which very few people get to do. And we're probably in a unique group this year where we have a large number of boys that will come back next year due to the players that we were able to select. So actually for 9 of them, they're still 16, and it's actually come a lot earlier than they probably imagined. So to make sure they don't waste an opportunity and make sure also they're not going to stagnate over the next 12 months because they think they're automatically going to come back. So I think that's a huge part of it as well.
Is that something that's I mean, I suppose I'm answering my own question in my head here because the tournament's gone so well so far. But with a younger group on average than you necessarily might have had in other years, is there a challenge there in sort of getting everyone up to speed quickly enough, or is it just this is the group of players and they're all handling it just fine?
Yeah, like they're doing fantastically well. All 26 that are now here, but the 29 lads we've had involved. I think what a lot of people don't understand with under 18 rugby, it isn't their school year, it's the year they're born. So a large number of boys that came to South Africa with us in the summer weren't qualified to play in this competition. So as much as we would have loved to have seen Sean Sharp and Noah, James Iniger fighting for positions at this competition, they weren't available due to their age. So what that's meant is then we're looking at players that are eligible. And for example, we've got in the backs, we've got James Townsend, Oscar Tolbert, Hugh Shields, Dec Treacy, Charlie Tamani, Junior Denny, that are all here playing and having a great experience that will be back again next year. But all of those boys have done a fantastic job in the Academy League for their schools, for their colleges, for their local rugby clubs, to get in a position where we're discussing them and then actually getting selected.
Tell you what, this time next year we could be talking about some of the most capped England under 18s of all time.
Yeah. There's not many that do it 2 years on the spin. I think we were chatting about it earlier. We had Elliot Williams that's out here now, and the tour captain that was out here out in Italy last year, but he was the only one from that group that's come back. And then you look at players like Ollie Davis that did two, that was in a position to do two. Unfortunately, missed it due to injury. But look, there's a great opportunity for these lads, but certainly being good at 16 doesn't mean you're going to go on and be a superstar. I think for these guys. It's a great exposure for them at this age. It's then down to them with the support of us, support of their clubs, support of their parents and other stakeholders, to make sure that they don't get complacent, because there's hundreds and thousands of other lads back playing club rugby, school rugby, that are fighting to try and take over them.
I know you guys don't like to talk about individuals too much, but you mentioned Elliot Williams there, and I've noticed in the last year or so, and been around him a couple of times, he stands out as a leader immediately, I think. Tell me a little bit about him as a player.
Yeah, look, Elliot's first of all a fantastic young man. I enjoy his company from the social point of view, but also the way that he drives a group is different to what I've experienced before. However, the way he leads by example is possibly up there with some of the best I've seen at this age. RS&C collates data based on the positional demands of the game. So based on the last 5 years of England under-18 rugby, we now have a really good understanding of what the peak demands are of an under-18 player in a game for each position. And we have an award of each week. And in the first round against Scotland, Elliot hit 119% of his position's peak game demands. So of the very, very top of his position over the last 5 years of data at 6, he's gone above that by 19%. So that sort of shows you there, like, what that young man is capable of. I believe he ran 7K in the game, which again, as a 6 is outstanding in a 70-minute game, let alone an 80-minute one. So yeah, no, Elliot's a fantastic leader, leads by example, speaks well. However, has worked really hard at it. I think if we look back to where he was at South Africa, he's had excellent support in his ACE program at Gordon's, his academy program at Quinn's to develop those leadership skills. And he'd have probably had some moments where he's found it tough, but certainly learnt from it, and will go into this final game as captain against France.
That's unbelievable. He's going to be absolutely shattered by the end of this week.
Thankfully, he didn't play much against Spain, so hopefully he's ready to go against France.
That's amazing. On Spain, what? I mean, that's an opponent I guess you guys probably haven't faced at any point in the last little while. What's obviously, you know, Six Nations, but for those that don't know, we've got Georgia and Spain in there as well. So 8 sides. It must be a really interesting challenge playing against sides that aren't necessarily those that you normally come up against.
Yeah, it's a great challenge. I think last year Portugal were here as well. So from a actual growing the game point of view, I think it's great that the players from Spain, Portugal, Georgia are able to come over at this age for this competition. And for our boys, it brings different challenges to what they're used to. I think Georgia was a fantastic one last year. Just the physicality is another level to what any of them have ever experienced. And Spain this year just provided a different challenge. I think their set piece very good. Individually, they have some outstanding players that really pushed our lads and tested us and created a different challenge to what we had against Scotland. And will be a different challenge to what we'll face tomorrow night against France. So it was a great opportunity for our boys. And likewise the Spanish lads as well. I think if you look at that Spanish group of players, there's boys playing all over the world. So they had a lot of boys playing out in France, La Rochelle, Toulouse, also back in Spain, but then also one playing at Northampton in the Under-18 Academy League. So it's not a case of certainly not a case of those countries joining us and not adding to the competition. Like Spain gave us an outstanding game, and at halftime at 12-all, it really challenged our lads to have some sort of so to be sort of faced with a challenge they've probably not been at before, in terms of, right, 12-all, how are we gonna kick on? And thankfully they came out in that first sort of 10 minutes after half time, put us in a good position to then finish off the game. But yeah, no, it's been great having a different experience playing Spain and obviously Georgia last year.
And I guess looking ahead to tomorrow night against France, that resilience the boys had to show against Spain. I know there's changes in the side, but they'll all have felt that probably stands them in good stead because you know there's a big challenge coming tomorrow night.
Yeah, and being completely honest, we've not trained. We didn't train well going into Spain. And again, that's perhaps due to, as I said, we've got 11 under 17s out here experiencing a tour for the first time. So, from an energy and how they prepare themselves, probably learnt a lot in that week. And actually, going into yesterday, we probably had our best rugby session. So, whether you can end up telling much about that or not, we'll find out in a few days' time. But certainly, from a learning point of view, the boys staying up late, perhaps not focusing on the bigger picture, was a great learning opportunity for them. At this age, you allow them to explore and learn for themselves. And as coaches, you end up pulling your hair out because actually they need to learn for themselves so that when they go into the 20s, when they go into senior camps, they know the expectation and they've learned how their bodies work to prepare themselves for a game. And I think the boys will have certainly learned a lot last week, just purely judging on the quality of the session and the day that we had yesterday.
That must be one of the more unusual parts of the job from a coaching point of view because you 16, 17-year-old kids, like teenagers are going to be teenagers. Like there must be, that's probably not a role that guys in the 20s set up, and certainly not above that, really have to deal with to the same extent. Whereas you guys have got a sort of hybrid role in a way of the on-field bit, but then sort of managing just teenagers being teenagers in the evening sort of thing.
Yeah, me and JP chat about it all the time. Like we have to take the pain so that 20s and at senior level they don't. But look, there's ultimately they're teenagers, so you want them toeing the line and going past the line at times as well. But I think the really important thing is we don't mother them. We don't try and keep them in a box. Like they've got to learn for themselves. And actually, if they get it wrong, that's a great way of learning. Obviously, we need to make sure that we're preparing them in the best ways possible. But the boys have to take ownership of it and be self-aware because that is ultimately a huge trait that they need and in any profession, sport aside. Like if you're self-aware and understand what you need to work on and how you're going to do that, like you can end up being very successful. And I think that's probably something that we always try and push to the boys is around that piece of right, these are the things you are currently working on. How are you the one driving it? How can we then help? And that comes both on and off the pitch. I think for a lot of them, this is the first time they've ever had buffet food at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So understanding what should be on their plate, when should they have X, Y, and Z based on what they've done in that day. And again, like they learn the not the hard way, but they do make some bad errors. But if they don't know, then like what? Well, I'm sure a few of them do know, and still make bad decisions. But then it's then up to us to try and highlight that and perhaps put them in the right direction to make better decisions at the next time they have that opportunity.
I think that's amazing insight because I think most of us looking at the outside look at the on field and we can probably build a bit of a picture of training and all the rest of that. But actually that wider piece of you're all in camp for X amount of time and there's a whole load of learning and development and mistakes and coaching moments that sort of don't even get thought about from the outside world on all of that. I think that's a part of this whole process that's really interesting for people.
Yeah, and the other things you get a chance like these camps are amazing. Like I really really want to push that these boys have an unbelievable experience both on and off the pitch. From completely different backgrounds. So I know there's a big piece on it, but we've got 13 state school, 13 private school boys out here. So some of them have had opportunities to go on tours before with schools, some of them haven't. And actually where we really get value on these camps and these tours is actually you get them for the whole time. So what you don't just look at is the rugby bit, the on-field bit, which is probably, as you say, the bit you think about. What we've had a great chance to do as well from a rugby point of view is develop their leadership skills. So boys getting up, presenting in front of the group, speaking in front of a group, developing those areas of their life, because ultimately, as you said earlier, they're not all going to go on and be professional rugby players. And even if they do, they're going to have to do something when they finish. So actually, these little skills of getting up and talking in front of a group and questioning and feeling comfortable when they ask a question and no one responds and it is really quiet and awkward, how they can develop that side of their professional skills and their off-field skills has been a great opportunity for us to develop over the course of sort of the last 12 days specifically, but ideally over the season whenever they're in with us.
And I guess how's the skills brushing up on connecting with the reference points for the young guys? I seem to remember last time I was kicking around in the under 18s camp, there was you were talking about Kevin Peterson, and none of the lads knew who he was.
Yeah.
Have you managed to age down your references yet?
No, I'm still. I reckon I'm still at an age where I've still got a little hold on the same things as them. The bits that was interesting are our S&Cs put together a DJ set for the gym session yesterday to bring a bit of energy. Obviously, sort of now 12 days into a camp with a load of 16, 17, 18-year-olds, the energy does sort of get into some troughs. So we sort of tasked those guys to really try and bring some energy to the gym session. And it was interesting the amount of songs that come on and all of us as a staff group get excited about. No emotion at all from the boys, because they haven't heard them. So probably music's the only point where at times the lads can be a little bit separated from some of the staff group. Certainly some more than others.
You're gonna have to let the lads take over the music. Listen, we're running out of time, so last kind of question. Tomorrow night, obviously, I'm not expecting you to give me the game plan, but what can we look out for? I know that you guys, you've spoken about you want to keep the ball moving. Are we looking for a sort of fast, exciting game?
Yep, like we're very big on, well, I'm certainly very big on focusing on us, and all our energy is around putting what we do as a team onto the pitch against France, onto the pitch against Spain, onto the pitch against Scotland. So certainly nothing's going to change from that point of view. We're going to keep going hard at moving the ball. We've been going very hard at the breakdown and the speed of that. Like our nines have brought into that brilliantly. We're working at 1.4 seconds per ruck between the 22s, which, like for me, that's excellent sort of speed that we're managing to get there, which is pleasing to see. But yeah, we'll just keep coming back to the point. We want to get the ball into space. We want to score tries from an attack point of view. And the challenges that France will bring us is they're very good at that as well. And what a fantastic opportunity for our lads to see where we're at. We've got a really good set piece. We want to keep going after that and keep using this as a great opportunity for our line out lifters, jumpers, throwers to compete and use that as a learning experience for them. Likewise with our scrum. But then also just recognizing some of the threats that France do have. Like you look at some of the tries they've scored, very broken play, counter-attack team. So we have looked at different ways of perhaps preventing that and perhaps changing our kicking game slightly just to perhaps limit some of the opportunities that they have. But with a 3-day turnaround, there's not a lot you can change. So all our focus is about England putting our game on the pitch in the best way the boys can.
Should be good fun. Feel sorry for Isaac Mears though. 1.4 second ruck speed. He's going to be absolutely shattered by the end of the game. But good luck to him.
Flying. He's doing really well.
He certainly is. Will Parkin, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck tomorrow night.
Cheers, Angus. Yeah, nice one. Thanks.